I wanted to talk to you today about using a very simple solution to keep your vintage sewing machine feet and motors from overheating. It involves a bit of lamp wire, if you've got it, or you can use the existing wire, a lamp switch, and a diode. So let me show you what happens. You connect this to the foot controller or the knee controller, it doesn't matter. And what happens is when it's turned off, the switch is one way, it slows your machine. So that's maximum speed, which you'll notice for 301 is quite slow. But what the advantage is if you're doing hours and hours of free motion embroidery, lots of sewing, it keeps your motor from getting as hot by a long shot. So there's the slowest speed. And then if I turn it the other direction, just keeps things from getting over hot. So let me show you what the overall speed difference is. Okay. And it's less observable on this machine than it is with some of the other ones, and it can be done to any. So there's, you see it halves the speed. If you imagine if you're doing a lot of slow work, what you want to do is keep the machine as slow as possible. And by having the voltage to the machine, it just allows you to keep it that much slower. It works very well. So let me show you. And what happens is you can select either one just as you need. And you can put it either on the back of the machine, or, as I've done, quite low down, because I don't switch it on and off that often. It's when I'm doing certain slow work I have it on. So that's on the slow speed, and that's because this 301 is very fast. That makes a huge difference. So let me show you, I'm going to zoom out now, what this looks like. Okay, so this is how it works. Here we have a lamp switch, nothing fancy. So you're running on very low voltage, and this is cheap and nasty. It doesn't have to be, oops, just drop. Very simple. So here we are, and in it you have the two connectors for a wire, and you put the wire across, and then when it's off, it's on. And that's all you're doing. So if you imagine, if you did nothing else but put this onto one of the wires, it doesn't matter which, of your foot controller, and you switched it off, you would get no power to the motor, and nothing would happen. But because you're only doing it on the motor, the light still works as you expect. However, if you turn it on, you get full speed. So how does this work? Well, what I've got, these are excessive for the job. It's a diode, so it means what it does is it restricts the electricity in one direction. Okay. Now this is overkill for this application. So these will work on 1000 volts. Basically you only need it for the voltage you're working on, but I wanted to do a bit more just in case these tend to get hot. So I bought these, as you see, a big pack, something like for $10 or something. And all you do is put it across these terminals. So you connect your wire in the middle like you do any lamp switch, and then you connect this to both these terminals, and you just make sure it fits in there smoothly. So what is happening here? So you would put that underneath and you'd connect the wire. So before you'll remember, when this was off, nothing happened. Now, when this switch is turned off, it sends the voltage in one direction only. So then you get half speed. That's all there is to it. When it's turned on, it ignores the fact that that's there and it sends the full voltage through because you're connected through two things, the full voltage and the part voltage. Well, electricity will always take the easier route and it'll just go and ignore this thing. But when you turn it off again, what it does is it runs half the voltage, one way of the voltage, because it's alternating current. It takes one direction and puts it through there. And that's all you have to do. And what that does is it really reduces the heat buildup in your foot controller and in the motor of the vintage machines. Just thought you might find that an interesting treat. So there you go. Now you'd put that flat and then you'd put the cover on, but I'm just showing you that it crosses the terminals. So if you have a smaller one, it's easier to fit in there, but I fit that on quite a few of my machines now. And that's a way to retrofit and keep for about $2. Doesn't cost you much at all.